Hello and welcome to the Spark Accounting Solutions Facebook Live show. I'm Jenny Q and I'm joined by Julie Babcock Hyde, who is the owner and founder of Spark Accounting Solutions, a CPA, CFM, QuickBooks Pro advisor, Profit First professional. It goes on and on. Hi, Julie. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks. I'm excited to be here with you. You've got some amazing strategies for people in the home service industry on how to price. And I know that's a challenge for all entrepreneurs, but we're going to dial it in specifically for the home service industry. Are you ready to get started?
I am ready to get started. And we're going to talk about 5 common ways, common strategies that are used in that industry.
Perfect. Let's do it. Let's start with number 1.
Number 1 is the good old bargain or discount pricing strategy. And this is not uncommon in this industry. You're going to see people all the time that advertise, hey, we've got low prices because we don't have the overhead of the big guys.
Okay.
And so you see that all the time. And there's a lot of people that get started this way. If you want to stay small, this isn't necessarily a bad strategy. But if you're trying to grow your business, this may not be the best strategy for you because you might be small now and not have the overhead of the big guys. But as you grow, your overhead's going to grow as well. So one of the problems with this strategy a lot of times is that with bargain prices come bargain shoppers. And so as soon as your prices go up, what happens to your bargain shoppers? They're going to go find the next bargain, right? And so this is something that you want to be careful of, is really thinking about this. Is this a long-term feasible strategy for your business? If you really want to just be a solopreneur, this might work for you. And knowing that like you won't have backup when you go on vacations because you can't afford a team member, some of these other things, but it might work for you. And we see it a lot. You just want to be really careful that it fits in with your long-term goals.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. So is it possible with this strategy to start here and then as you grow shift, or are you just like, nope, start with the end in mind and let's go backwards and make sure you don't?
I always encourage people to really think through that as a strategy because the problem is, like I said, like if you build your customer base off of bargain shoppers, eventually your prices are going to get high enough that they're going to leave you. And can you afford to lose the beginning of your customer base or not? And so you got to really think about strategy and how much you need those people to keep your business going.
Perfect. All right. That makes perfect sense. All right. So number 2 is strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of the next phase that people usually go to. And I want to say something else about these strategies that we're talking about today. They aren't necessarily all mutually exclusive.
All right.
Somebody might be a bargain pricer and they might be using one of the other strategies that we're doing as well. They can work together. So this next strategy we're talking about is basically basing your billing, how much you're going to charge your customers off of how much it costs you. So you're coming up with, an hourly rate. You're charging them for the number of hours that you work on a job. You're taking a markup on your parts. There's goods and bads with this, right? Now, as a business owner, the good part is you know that you're going to make money. If something takes you 3 hours, you're going to get paid for those 3 hours. If something costs you $100 in parts and you've quoted a 40% markup on them, you're going to get that markup and you're going to make money. But as a consumer, as a customer, how does it feel when somebody comes in and says, sure, I'll fix that for you, and this is my hourly rate? What's the first question you kind of want to know?
What's the actual cost?
Exactly. Customers like to know what they're going to be billed.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons with this. And so you got the customer side of things. The other piece of things, and you should know this, whatever trade you're in, as you get better at what you do, it takes you less time and you become more efficient, right?
Right.
And so what happens if you're getting paid hourly and you become more efficient?
Ooh, yeah, good point.
You start making less. And so
Mhm.
what used to be a $300 job is now a $250 job and is maybe now a $200 job. Does that mean that the net customer that you only spent, 2 hours on their job wouldn't have paid $300?
Nope.
Probably not.
Right.
And so that's the one downside with this is that you want to make sure you really think through that. And if you are on a cost plus or an hourly rate, that as you get more efficient, you may need to raise your hourly rate. Now,
Mm,
what happens when people are just price shopping and they get told two different people's hourly rates? Who are they going to pick?
the lower one, no doubt. They
Right.
won't ask what's the cost. They likely won't ask what's the total estimate for the job.
Right. That's
Right.
exactly right. And so when they hear somebody is $150 and they hear somebody else is $100 an hour, if it's going to take you less time, but you're charging $150 an hour versus the guy that's charging 100, you might lose out to the
Right.
$100 an hour person just because of that rate. The other thing that can happen with customers is if somebody came and quoted something to you and said, I'm $150 an hour, you might be like, oh, that's a higher hourly rate than I expected. But if they came to you and quoted, I think it's going to be about $300 to get the job done,
Mhm.
you might still jump on that $300.
Right.
And so sometimes stating your hourly rate can actually get in the way of closing a sale.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I'm suddenly thinking about when I take a car in for an estimate, you
Yeah,
know, like, yeah, they tell me what their hourly rate is, but they also wrap the estimate with how many hours it's going to take. So I'm looking at the bottom line. I'm looking at all the parts, all
yeah,
the total estimate, and then I can make a decision based on the final price,
exactly.
not based on their hourly rate. That's good. Yeah.
Exactly. And so
Mhm.
this is not an uncommon place again for people to start out at,
Mhm.
because you don't want to go into other if you don't know how long a job is going to take you,
Mhm.
you probably don't want to quote a flat rate
Mm.
because you could lose your shirt on it, right?
Sure.
And so that's the thing, like a lot of people start here, and this isn't a bad place to start. You know that your costs are covered, but you
Right.
just want to think through those other potential issues. And, are you going to quote $150 an hour, or are you going to quote this is a $200 job?
Job. Yeah. No,
Because there
that's really
might be
good.
times that one way would work better than the other.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay. Things that you just don't know till you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. Okay. All right. Here we go with number 3, value pricing strategy.
now, I love the concept of value pricing, but it's hard to implement.
Okay.
Value pricing basically means that you're going to charge your customer what they think the job is worth.
Hmm.
So, if you were trying to systematize your sales process and make things easy, this is a little bit harder to do because
Sure.
what you might pay for it might be very different from what I might pay for it. And if you're doing value pricing, I'm going to include fixed fees in here as well. Okay.
Okay.
Because they usually go hand in hand. You can have fixed fee pricing without it being value priced because value price implies that subjectivity of each customer. But fixed fee pricing is nice because going back to what we were talking about before, a customer likes to know what it's going to cost.
Mm-hmm.
But the downside is you don't know what it's going to cost.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to make sure you really have a good definition of what you're really doing, have a good idea of how long it's going to take, have a good idea of what parts are going to be needed to complete it so that you can make sure you're going to make money off of this fixed fee job. So that's one thing. You've got to know your costs. One mistake a lot of people make around this is just trying to figure out what their hourly rate is for their technicians.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think about what your hourly rate that your technicians need to bring in, you need to factor in not just their hourly rate for their wages, but their workers' comp, their payroll taxes, the overhead that they have to cover, the vehicle they're driving, all of the equipment that they have to use. You have to take all of that into account. And it adds up to a lot more than the 10, 20, $30 an hour that you're paying your tech.
Right. And then, like, I don't even know if there is a standard answer or a rule of thumb here, but so if you're paying your tech $30 an hour and then you factor in all of the others, right? Then is there a X times number to come up with what you need to charge? I don't even know if I'm wording this right.
No, I
But
know. I hear what you're saying.
the
So
rule
a
of
lot,
thumb is, right?
yeah. So a lot of people will say, like in a service industry, you're looking at 3 times
Okay.
the rate, but you can't just use the rule of thumb, because what if that doesn't apply to your business? What if you have some unusual costs, and you really need to dig into your real costs
Mm-hmm.
and figure out what you've got going on there so that you can make sure those are covered.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
There's one other downside when you're doing fixed fees that I want to make sure people think through, is people changing or adding a little thing on or making some scope changes to what's actually happening in the job.
Oh, and that happens.
Now, some home service professionals are really good at saying, "Oh yeah, we can do that. Let me go get a change order." And those are the magic words to say, "Yes, we can do that, but we're going to have to bill you extra." So make sure you have those, whatever language that is for you, to say, "Yeah, we can do that, but let me go change your estimate to include that. Let me go, get a change order."
Sure.
So that you
Brilliant.
make sure you're getting paid for the extra work you're doing, and talk about it up front.
Pro tip.
Yeah, because if you get to the end and you're like, "Oh, well, here's the bill, and then we added this on because we did all this extra stuff," the customer, we don't want to be surprised
Yeah.
by billing. Nobody wants to be surprised by a bigger bill. So it's really important to bring that stuff up as it happens. And if the customer is asking for additional work, let them know there's going to be additional costs associated.
Perfect. Perfect. Very good. All right. Number 4, bundled pricing strategy. I can't wait to hear about this, because we hear it, but I want to see how it applies to the service industry.
Yeah, exactly. So there's definitely ways to do this. We've seen bundles everywhere we go, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this, let's take an example of a handyman, and he gets called to come out and do the fall gutter clean out. Okay, that's cool. He can come out and do that. That is going to be a smaller job, and he's going to have several other jobs that day to fill up his day. Now, if you instead offered "Oh yeah, we can do that, but we also have a fall home readiness bundle where we go around and check and make sure your weather stripping is ready. We check and make sure that all of your door frames and window frames, if they need caulking, we do the caulking." They can add additional things onto that and turn that small job into a bigger job.
Nice.
Now, the benefit for the home service professional is additional revenue.
Sure.
The benefit for the customer is they're probably getting some other things crossed off their list that need to get done that they hadn't even thought about. And now, when you look at your efficiency, one of the biggest killers of efficiency for home service professionals is drive time.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And if we can cut down the drive time and get you more revenue on one job by selling them a bundle of services, that's great. Now, typically when people buy a bundle, they get a little bit of a discount, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, because we are probably saving ourselves an hour of drive time to the next job.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes total sense. And you're adding so much value. The other thought that came to me for the customer, like, I hate it when I have to be at home for someone to show up between a window, right? Yeah. And if let's say I have 5 things on my list that need to get done, and I only have to be home one time to get all 5 of those things done. Yeah. Like, that's a huge value for me as the customer, that I don't have to now schedule 5 separate trips. So yeah, exactly. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. That was not at all where my mind went when we were talking about bundled pricing. So that's why this is important to share.
Awesome.
I was thinking total opposite. So it's a good thing I'm not saying that I'm the expert or the, or the consultant here on home service businesses. Okay, so let's go right to number 5, packages pricing strategy.
Now, what's the difference between a package and a bundle, right?
That's exactly where I went.
So a bundle is a group of services. And remember that a lot of times these pricing strategies can overlap. So with a package, you've all seen a good, better, best
Yes.
options, bronze, silver, gold options, sometimes platinum for the real special stuff. This is another way to kind of bundle your services. Some of the benefits of this is if you have bargain shoppers, they have an option. If you have people that always pay for the best, they have an option. And for the rest of us that like to be in the middle, there's a nice middle ground for us.
Nice.
And so this is just another way to really think about packaging and delivering to your customers. And it gives you the opportunity to let everybody find something that will serve the basics. They can get just the basics, or they can get the premium package. And it's really nice to have those options. It includes multiple price points. And it really allows the consumer to feel like they were picking the right solution for them. And so that's just another way to do that. And truthfully, like you could combine bargain strategy with packages. You can combine bargain strategy with bundled. You could be the opposite of bargain and you could be premium, and you can combine all of these strategies. But there's one thing that no matter what you do with these, you need to know to be successful with your pricing. And that is truly knowing what your costs are.
Well, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I want to ask you on the package pricing, have you found that most customers will choose one repeatedly?
Yeah, usually, and you usually want to set that up so that middle package is the one that you want most of your customers to select.
Okay.
So like if they pick the high end, you're like, cool, that's cool. That'll give me some extra money, but I don't want to do that for everybody because that would be a lot of work for everybody.
Right.
So you try to set that middle package as the one that you want most people to select. So you kind of do that generally as the most common package.
Okay.
And then, the small package is, something that meets the needs of your bargain shoppers. And then that premium package meets the needs of the people that always, the people. There's always somebody that has to have the best of everything.
Absolutely.
And that's totally fine. We give them an option for that.
Perfect. Really, really good information, Julie. Thank you so much. Now, if somebody has a specific question, do you prefer that they leave it as a comment on this video or reach out to you privately? How do you want them to connect?
Absolutely. You can leave it as a comment. And if it's a question we can answer on a Facebook post, we're happy to. If it's something that's bigger, feel free to reach out to us. We've got a contact us button, or send us a message through Facebook.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Julie Babcock-Hyde with Spark Accounting Solutions. And thank you all for watching. Until next time, see ya.
Thank you.